I am stranded on one lucky block in the middle of the ocean. This block can spit out anything from enchanted golden apples, ridiculous loot, to the wither. Believe me, we have some insane close calls. And I have 100 days to become OP. I'm talking god tier glitched armor and an insane base. So stick around because this 100 days is crazy. On day 1, I immediately got to work ripping through the lucky blocks. My strat was to build a platform to stand on, but let's just say it didn't go the way I wanted. Yeah, I died a lot. Eventually though, I started making some progress. Day 2 looked a lot better. I kept expanding the platform little by little, and I even discovered that using lava on water was basically a cheat code for expanding the island. Yeah, I'm a genius, I know. I also discovered these hero villagers which have ridiculous enchanted loot traits. Oh, and yeah, I spawned the warden. And a phantom. Yo, shout out. So I hid like a coward and eventually he despawned. Days 3 to 4, I found my first wandering trader which had the worst loot ever. I really wanted saplings so we could actually use wood, but this guy just sucks. Luckily, I wished him goodbye and let him leave safely. But after that, I kept upgrading my base. I started a mini enchantment table and a little baby beacon from wells we'd repurposed. I didn't have any chests yet, so we were basically just hoarding everything. Day 5 was pretty chill. I decided to trade for these OP boots with the hero villager, and at this point, I had insane armor, but on day 6, I was stuck in an obsidian trap. I was able to escape pretty easily. Then I decided to take the obsidian and make my own nether portal. So I stepped into the nether, and after navigating a basalt delta and getting returned to sender, I found a crimson forest. Oh, yes, let's go. Okay, crimson forest. Oh my goodness. I harvested a ton of resources so I could grow everything back home and headed home victoriously. Then at home, I expanded the island a little bit and got to chopping these crimson trees. I didn't realize just how annoying they were to chop down though. Oh, and I did manage to get this insane sword. At this point, I decided to build my house. Now, I wanted some sort of variety in my block palette, so I went to the mines to get tons of deep slate to build with. Oh, and don't get it twisted. Just because I said block palette doesn't mean I'm a good builder at all. Now, days 11 to 14 were stinkers. I spent about 2 days shaping my island into a circle. Oh my god, dude, I'm so bad at this. God, this is just embarrassing. I can't even make it. Oh my god, did I do it? Did I make a circle? Oh my god, I made a circle, dude, I made a circle. No, it's still not good. This is dreadful. What is going, like, and I don't like, oh yeah, that's a perfect circle if I've ever seen one. It totally didn't take me like 5 days. Eventually, I built my house. It's pretty basic, but I just wanted a roof over my head. But I actually think I did a pretty good job. Days 17 and 19, I wanted to keep expanding my base, specifically the nether portal. I'd seen so many cool sword builds online and I wanted to build my own. Now, it was quite the process since I'm horrible at building, and I also had the brilliant idea of making my own end portal at home. I'd gotten enough frames from lucky blocks, and after building the portal and putting eyes in, I realized that you can't build your own portal at home. Oh, it's over. It is over. You have to use the stronghold. So now it's just sort of sitting there. I finished building the nether sword, which I'm actually really proud of, and I changed the border of the island to lucky blocks to fit with the whole theme, and I filled my end portal with water since it's just sort of sitting there. Day 20, I decided it was time to beat the ender dragon. Unfortunately, I'd used up all my eyes on the end portal, so I silk touched some lucky blocks, went really far out into the ocean, and opened a ton for eyes. Now, I did get the eyes, but the wither spawned.
You gotta be, are you actually kidding me?
Now, I tried fighting him, but eventually I just ran away and swam to the bottom of the ocean to escape. I'm actually such a coward. Eventually, I made it back to home base, got ready for the ender dragon fight, and at this point, we were ridiculously OP. The blocks just gave me so much good loot. So I gathered my bearings and headed out to find the stronghold. Now, I haven't mentioned it yet, but I'm terrified of the ocean, so this whole world was a nightmare. Let's just go all the way down. Dude, I hate the ocean so much. Anyway, eventually we found the stronghold, portal room, and headed to the end. Day 23 was the ender dragon fight, and it was just ridiculously easy. I mean, we were just so OP. It was a cakewalk. I had one close call, but it was just, yeah. Then I looked for my elytra, and when I tell you this was the biggest time sink of the whole 100 days, I'm not lying. It took me not a long time to find the end city itself, but I could not find an end gateway for the life of me. I mean, I even considered bridging to the main island. But anyway, in conclusion, I went back to the original gateway that we came from, which was thousands of blocks away, but at least we made it home. Back at home, I wasted no time enchanting and combining my armor and tools. I wanted a god set of armor and tools, so we had our work cut out for us. Anyway, Anyway, I noticed that lots of my armor was in pretty bad condition, so I decided I need Unbreaking 3 and Mending. So I made a new island using dirt I mined underground and planned to make a villager trading hall. I also went out and searched for grass just to make it look better, but I realized that grass literally spawns nowhere in an ocean-only world. So I went back home and cried. But seriously, on day 31, I was back in the nether because I wanted new blocks for a unique block palette. I wanted to build with warped wood because I thought it would contrast the red crimson wood pretty well. So I traveled hundreds of blocks in hopes for a warped forest, which I successfully found and chopped a ton of wood down. I also found a bastion, which was amazing. Now this was super cool as I thought it would give us access to different blocks. So after I finished raiding it pretty easily, I even found 2 pieces of ancient debris. I had the brilliant idea of constructing another portal at the bastion so we could come back for blocks. Please don't spit me out too far away from home. Yeah, it spit us out 5,000 blocks from spawn. I don't even know what I was thinking. Anyway, back at home, I decided to start the villager breeder. So I transported all my villagers from the hole to their new home. I then went out and killed a ton of Mr. Rainbows for wool.
I promise it broke my heart while I was doing it.
I also cleaned up the ocean a little bit since it was so messy. Days 39 to 40 were spent opening up a ton of lucky blocks. I really just needed potato, bread, or carrots to breed the villagers, but when I went back home, tragedy had struck. I discovered that all the villagers were dead, and I genuinely don't know what happened other than maybe zombies had spawned and killed them. This is why I don't play with Fulbright. Oh, and believe me, this is just the beginning of the villager dilemma. So I had to open up more lucky blocks to get more potatoes, bread, or carrots to breed them, and I got 2 green villagers this time. So I went back home, put them in the breeder, and it finally worked. I even expanded their little home and gave them more potatoes to breed with, so I just put in more beds. Day 46, I woke up and decided to clean up the island a little bit. First, I mined up tons of lucky blocks with Silk Touch to replace the border of the main island. I then mined up a ton of blocks that were out of place and moved the beacon. I noticed I had enough blocks for a fully powered beacon, so... Wait, yup, the villagers got zombified. I can't even express the frustration I felt right here. Anyway, I put them in a boat indefinitely because I just didn't want to deal with villagers. Never play with Fulbright, kids. Day 47, I set up a new mini island and put up our beacon. I also mined up lucky blocks and replaced the border, and I set up a little mini island for my enchanting table as it was sort of an eyesore behind my house. And after a little breather, I was back to dealing with the villagers. So I had to cure them, meaning I needed a splash potion of weakness. Now, instead of making everything like a peasant, I went back to gambling and opened up lucky blocks. Eventually, I got the block that I was hoping for, which included fermented spider eyes, blaze rod. I mean, it was amazing. So I went back home at hyper speed. Yeah, hero potions are OP. Made a brewing stand and crafted our potion of weakness. I cured them and went back and opened up more lucky blocks to get even more potatoes and bread. On the way there, I also got the doctor achievement, so I thought everything was set. Anyway, after a potato wish, I headed back home. And as I arrived home, yep, you guessed it, the villagers hadn't cured yet. So this time I AFK'd right next to them to make sure they would 100% cure. Then I realized what happened. Throughout the curing process, they had uncured, but at different times. So the stew just reinfected themselves due to being in a boat. But this time I made sure nothing went wrong and watched them breed. Pause. Anyway, I decided to make a potato farm for the villagers, lay out the border, and went to get dirt for day 53. Day 54 to 55, I noticed the villagers had grown up, so I decided to make a new island for the librarians. I was getting much better at building circles, by the way. So day 56 to day 58 were the Mending and Unbreaking 3 grind. Except after, I think, 500 lectern breaks, I still hadn't gone Unbreaking 3. I decided to settle for Unbreaking 2 simply for my sanity. I spent the rest of the day trading with the villagers and trying to figure out some sort of infinite emerald loop for XP. So day 59, I spent the day gambling and opening up tons of lucky blocks for emeralds and other, well, materials. I was really just waiting for the rest of the villagers to grow. And day 60, I made a new island to put the rest of my miscellaneous villagers on, and I spent the day maxing out as well as discovering loom / shepherd villagers. Yeah, I had no idea they even existed. They offer beds for trades as well as wool, and this is really good for us since it would allow us to go bed mining in the nether, which would give us netherite. So I spent the day leveling them up and unlocked beds for trading, and on day 61 I started our netherite mine. So yeah, it went pretty well. We were able to get a ton of ancient debris. But on day 63, I noticed that we still didn't have a netherite upgrade, so I had to go looking for a bastion. Now first, I went back to the bastion that we discovered in the beginning, but it didn't have any sort of netherite upgrades. So I had to go further into the nether, and I went looking for another bastion, eventually stumbling on one a few hundred blocks away. This bastion immediately had a netherite upgrade, which was amazing, as well as some ancient debris. So I wasted no time because I'm deathly afraid of bastions and headed back home. Day 66, I decided to upgrade to netherite, and I was deciding which trim to put on my armor. Eventually settled on this design. I think it looks absolutely amazing. I don't know if it gives me the best armor boost, but it just looks really cool to me. Day 67, I spent trading with the villagers, opening lucky blocks for iron, diamonds, and emeralds. It was really just a filler day. Day 68 to 70, I went back to the nether to attempt getting full netherite for my tools, but I sort of just gave up because, well, we weren't getting netherite at the pace that I wanted, and I had a major project to get to. Now, day 71, I decided to begin Project FARTS. Fully Assembled Resource Treasure Sanctuary. Farts, or... I'm planning on moving all my villagers to this island and also making it a storage slash treasury. It's really just like a fallout shelter of sorts. So I spent the rest of the day making a huge platform as well as gathering the stone for it. Day 75, I had to spend getting deep slate for the build. So I moved down my beacon, and I don't know. I'm actually one of the biggest noobs because apparently the beacon needs to be exposed to the sky. Yeah, I'm such a noob. Day 76 to 78, I continued placing out the layout for farts, and this continued until day 85. Days 86 to 87, I decided to look for an amethyst geode for blocks to build with. No, I'm just joking. I just fell to my own demise. Yeah, I completely forgot I just left the beacon hole exposed. So after that mishap, I went down and I originally mined some tuff, but I found the amethyst geode. I obtained the blocks, and I just want to say that it looks like a monster. It's like a huge bite out of the geode. Or am I just delusional? Probably the latter. Anyway, I spent days 88 to 93 decorating the interior. I mean, this is supposed to be a sanctuary, so I tried making it look as nice as possible. I bone mealed those mushrooms to chop down wood for chests, and I only had 2 item frames for the storage area, but I also added the lucky block border just to go with the whole theme. Then days 94 to 95, I moved all the villagers over and just traded with them a lot. I was trying to get to golden carrots, honestly, just because they have the best saturation in the game. And I also got a cleric villager, which is OP for us if we ever want to trade away gold. So days 96 to 97, I went back to opening up lucky blocks, I guess for a last hoorah. And we had really good luck. We also got spawn eggs, including a wandering trader and evoker. Oh, and the wither spawned. Yeah, we were far away, but I did get this really funny message. So as usual, I cowered away and, you know, rest in peace to all the animals over there. Day 98, I placed down the wandering trader, and of course, he gives us nothing. I just gave up on ever getting another sapling outside of the nether trees. I brought in the final villagers, and I finally got golden carrots, the food of wealth. I feel like every single hardcore world that has golden carrots, you just know they made it. Day 99, I fought the evoker for a totem of undying, and I decided to go back and kill the wither. Yep, no more running. And that was like really easy. I don't know. I always forget how OP we are. So I just went back home and moved some stuff around and cleaned up the island a little bit. I worked through the night to try and touch up the base and yeah, ignore the breeding island. All right, here. I gave the villagers some emeralds because I couldn't clean up their home. Oh, and another wandering trader spawn. Yep. Terrible. I mean, it's poetic at this point. And as the sun finally set on day 100, I just basked in it all. We did so much these 100 days, and it was a blast making this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed playing through it. And let me know down in the comments if you want to see another 100 days of this world. But yeah, peace.